Welcome to the Deep Dive. You send us your sources, and we're here to pull out those crucial insights for you. Basically, a shortcut so you feel well-informed without all the overwhelm.
Yeah, exactly. And today, we're digging into something really interesting you sent over, a YouTube analysis by Philonautica looking at Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451.
Right. In this analysis, it really gets at a core question that feels, well, incredibly relevant. How does Bradbury's vision, from way back in 1953, echo in our own society?
That's the mission. To unpack that video's take for you, you want those aha moments, that solid understanding, but fast, right?
Totally. Quick, thorough, no getting lost in the weeds. So let's jump in. What does this analysis say Bradbury tells us about? Well, us, now.
Okay, so the video kicks off by placing Fahrenheit 451 next to the other big dystopias. You've got Orwell's 1984 Total Fear, State Control.
Big Brother, yeah. Constant surveillance.
And then Huxley's Brave New World, which is more about engineered happiness, keeping people docile with pleasure.
Right. Different flavors of nightmare. But the video makes a really key point about Bradbury's version, doesn't it?
It really does. It argues that Fahrenheit's dystopia isn't just some heavy-handed government thing. It actually suggests it comes from the people themselves.
How so?
Through, their own choices, choosing distraction, choosing shallowness over depth. It's almost self-inflicted.
Huh, that's interesting. So not just external tyranny.
Exactly. And the video links this quite powerfully, I thought, to the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He had this warning about societies basically destroying themselves from within through their own excesses and losing meaning.
So the video sees Bradbury predicting a world where people choose the superficial. They aren't just forced into it.
Pretty much. A kind of willing descent into meaninglessness, seduced by distraction rather than crushed by oppression, a really different take.
Okay, that sets the stage. To really get into the video's analysis, maybe we should quickly recap the story itself for anyone who needs a refresher.
Good idea. So Fahrenheit 451, future society. Firemen don't put out fires, they start burning books.
Because books are illegal, seen as dangerous.
Right. And our main guy, Guy Montag, he's one of these firemen. Initially, he's just doing his job, part of the system.
But then Clarice.
Ah, yes, the video really highlights her. Clarice McClellan. This teenage girl who's just different, curious, observant, asks questions.
He notices things, right? Like the dew on the grass, the smell of rain, simple things everyone else ignores.
Totally. And she asks Montag this killer question, "Are you happy?" Which just, it hits him hard, plants the seed of doubt.
And that doubt grows when he gets home to his wife, Mildred. The video focuses on her quite a bit, too.
Yeah, her life is just consumed by these giant interactive TV screens, the parlor walls.
3 of them. And the video mentions her suicide attempt, the overdose.
And how she just denies it the next day, wants to dive right back into the shallow entertainment. It really shows the emptiness.
Then Clarice vanishes, presumed dead, which the video sees as a big turning point for Montag.
Definitely. But the absolute catalyst, according to the analysis, is the old woman, the one who refuses to leave her hidden library.
Oh, right. She chooses to die with her book, sets herself on fire.
An incredible act of defiance. And seeing someone value ideas, knowledge that much, it pushes Montag over the edge. He steals a book from the fire.
And starts questioning everything.
Yeah.
Which brings him into conflict with his boss, Captain Beatty.
Yeah, Beatty. The video points out how Beatty actually gives this whole speech justifying the book burning.
What's his logic again?
Basically, that books cause confusion. They make people unequal, unhappy because they present conflicting ideas. So society chose to destroy them for peace, for equality.
A very twisted idea of peace and equality. Made equal by burning thought.
Exactly. But Montag's not buying it anymore. He tries reading with Mildred, which the video notes is a total failure. She just doesn't get it, doesn't care.
So he seeks out help. Professor Faber.
Right. This old, kind of washed-up English professor. Faber becomes his mentor, teaching him not just how to read, but how to understand, to connect ideas, the meaning behind the word.
The video also mentions Montag trying to, force poetry on Mildred's friends.
Oh, yeah, disastrously. They react with total incomprehension, even hostility. Just shows how detached they are from genuine emotion or thought.
And eventually, Beatty finds out Montag's been hiding books.
Yep. Leads to the big confrontation. Beatty makes Montag burn his own house, his own books.
And Montag snaps. He kills Beatty.
With the flamethrower, Becomes a fugitive. Has to run.
Faber helps him escape the city.
And out in the wilderness, he finds this group, intellectuals, led by a guy named Granger, outcasts.
What are they doing?
The video explains they're the books. They've each memorized entire works of literature and philosophy, preserving them in their minds.
Wow. Human libraries.
Essentially, yeah. waiting for society to collapse so they can help rebuild it with the wisdom they've saved.
And the video ends the synopsis with the city being bombed, right? And the group heading back towards the ruins.
That's it, the destruction, but also the potential for a new beginning, hopefully a more thoughtful one.
Okay, so with that story in mind, the video analysis then pivots really hard into drawing parallels with our time. It argues Bradbury wasn't just writing fiction. He was giving a warning.
A warning about the present, yeah. It starts with censorship. The video reminds us how tyrants have always used it, controlling language, information, history. It mentions Nazi Germany, Stalinist Russia.
Standard totalitarian playbook. Control the narrative, control the people.
And it links this to 1984's idea of Newspeak limiting words to limit thought, and how Fahrenheit 451 takes it further by burning the source of complex thought. Philosophy, poetry, deep analysis.
It's not the paper they fear, it's the ideas.
Precisely. Beatty's logic, as the video dissects it, is about killing disagreement to kill conflict, aiming for this flat, smooth, unchallenged.
But the video argues it's not real peace. It's numbness, spiritual death, confusing comfort with actual happiness.
Exactly. And this is a really critical point the video hammers home. Censorship here isn't just about control, it's a form of sedation.
Keeping people calm and unquestioning. Beatty even talks about valuing facts, right? Just raw data.
Yeah, fill them up with facts, disconnected trivia, but avoid the slippery stuff. Philosophy, sociology, anything that might make them think or feel too deeply might make them melancholy.
And that's where the video draws the line straight to today. The constant flood of information, social media, to Tina 47 News.
We feel informed, maybe, but are we actually understanding anything? Are we thinking critically or just absorbing data?
The video suggests we're great at collecting facts, but maybe not so good at connecting ideas, and maybe a bit uncomfortable with those bigger, fuzzier questions.
It echoes Faber's point in the book, doesn't it? That the magic isn't the book itself, it's what the book does. It stitches together patches of the universe for us. It creates understanding.
Okay, so that's the censorship assedation angle. What else does the video pull out?
Well, building on that is the whole idea of the death of reading itself. The video points out how, in Bradbury's world, things like news died out, not banned, just ignored. People lost interest.
Like in Brave New World, where they have Soma to keep them happy and distracted?
Right, but the video makes a distinction. In Brave New World, it's a drug. In Fahrenheit 451, the sedation comes from relentless, shallow stimulus, constant energy.
And the video makes that chilling point. You don't need to burn books if you can just get people to stop reading them.
That really landed. It's enough to just kill the culture of reading, of depth engagement.
How does Bradbury depict that happening in the book?
The video mentions the accelerated pace of life. Billboards stretch super wide because people drive so fast they can't read normal ones. Everything's shifting towards quick, easy, instant entertainment.
And the parlor walls again, those immersive screens.
Yeah, where the fictional characters become more real than actual people. Mildred calling them her family.
Ooh. And the video connects that to us, right? Quoting TV shows, dissecting plot lines, knowing celebrity gossip.
Maybe better than we know our neighbor. It asks, does this constant entertainment make us, well, stupid?
Not like low IQ stupid, but
stupid in terms of awareness, depth, discernment, less able to tell what's important.
The video brings Nietzsche back here, too, about comfort being dangerous.
Yeah, his idea that growth comes through struggle, through overcoming difficulty. But our modern tendency, reflected in Bradbury's world, is to avoid all discomfort. Endless scrolling, binge watching.
Anything to avoid friction, or maybe just silence.
And this shapes the media landscape. The demand is for shorter articles, quick videos instead of essays, tweets instead of arguments. Fast, bite-sized, often emotionally charged.
And the video says, hey, we drive this. Clickbait works because we click it.
We get the media we ask for, in a way, but the danger the video flags is that our brains get trained on this diet of, mental junk food.
And forget how to digest something substantial.
Exactly. Leading to maybe unthinking voting, adopting influencer opinions wholesale, mocking people who ask tough questions.
It also mentioned entertainment as unnoticed propaganda.
Yeah, because if you're constantly distracted, you're not critically evaluating the messages embedded in the entertainment itself. It just washes over you.
The video creator even shared a personal bit about binge watching.
Right, acknowledging it felt hollow, but doing it anyway. That escapism is powerful.
So the ultimate warning here, from the video's perspective, is that societies crumble not just from big dramatic events, but from this slow, quiet erosion of thought.
Yeah, ideas replaced by memes, dialogue decaying into slogans, celebrity worship taking over, leading towards that Nietzschean prediction of nihilism, the loss of all value.
Well, okay, that connects to the next major theme of the video, the loss of depth and meaning itself. He uses a quote.
We need not to be let alone. We need to be really bothered once in a while. That's powerful.
It really is. The video links Bradbury's world to Socrates' fear, a society that stops thinking, stops questioning beneath the surface, just anesthetized by constant distraction.
Where conversations are just empty rituals, curiosity is dangerous, silence is terrifying, so it's filled with noise.
Like Clarisse observed, people talk about things, cars, clothes, celebrities, but not about ideas or feelings or truth.
And her question to Montag, "Are you happy?" is so jarring because nobody asks that. Nobody thinks about it.
The video argues that's the real dystopia. Not just book burning, but the death of depth, the murder of introspection.
And it draws a direct line to us, chasing dopamine hits on our screens, maybe losing touch with essential things like thinking, really listening, asking why.
Even when we have instant access to almost all information.
Information isn't wisdom, right? And the video brings up Mildred's suicide attempt again here.
As a symptom of this underlying despair.
Yeah, pointing out how common it is in their world, how mechanized the response is, and then connecting it to our own world. High rates of depression, suicide, anxiety. It poses the question, what role does our screen time, our constant connection yet potential isolation, play in that feeling of empty?
That's a heavy question. The video then mentions Montag finding something in the Bible.
Yes, Ecclesiastes. King Solomon wrestling with the meaning of life, even with all his wealth and pleasure, finding it all vanity of vanity. Tolstoy's similar crisis.
But the people in Fahrenheit 451, they don't wrestle with it.
No, they just sedate themselves, escape into the parlor walls. They avoid the darkness instead of confronting it to find purpose.
It reminds me of the quote the video used from Brave New World, John the Savage wanting real life, even the bad parts.
Exactly. He wants God, poetry, real danger, freedom, goodness, sin. The full spectrum of human experience, not just bland manufactured comfort.
But the parlor walls, these new gods, as the video calls them, they only offer distraction, not meaning.
They drown out the silence where meaning might actually be found. So what's lost? Fundamental.
Conscious, the ability to reflect, to have real conversation.
That seems to be the video's argument, contrasting the city dwellers with the fugitives in the woods.
The ones memorizing books.
Yeah. They've sacrificed comfort, safety even. They've gained clarity, purpose. They're dedicated to preserving wisdom. They're truly alive in a way the city people aren't.
It's a hollow piece in the city versus something real, even if difficult, with the fugitives.
So the video's call to action here is basically stop killing meaning, have real conversations, ask big questions, read old books, embrace discomfort, accept uncertainty.
Don't just fill the...
Right. Which leads into the final concept the video tackles, building on all this, Nietzsche's last man.
Okay, what's the idea there?
The video presents it as Nietzsche's prophecy of where humanity might end up if it gives up on striving, on greatness, on self-overcome, if it loses that deeper sense.
So what is the last man like?
Comfortable. Content. Avoids suffering. Avoids risk. Avoids creation. Avoids questioning. Seeks only routine, distraction, petty pleasure. No ambition for anything more.
The video had that quote.
Mm-hmm.
The last man asks about love, creation, stars.
And then just blinks. Total apathy. No comprehension. No desire for those things.
And the video argues Fahrenheit 451 shows a world full of these last men and women.
Pretty much. Until Montag wakes up, he starts questioning. He reads Ecclesiastes and feels that existential ache. He breaks the mold.
And the connection to today. The video sees us heading that way.
It draws strong parallels. The flood of entertainment, phones as our soma, social media as our parlor walls, overwhelmed with content, starved of wisdom.
Creating echo chambers, easily managed.
Easily pleased, easily sold to. Ultimately, the video warns becoming forgettable, replaceable. The birth of the last man.
That's quite a warning.
It is. It really makes you think about the trajectory.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the key takeaway from this deep dive into the Philonautica analysis, it's this really stark, maybe uncomfortable parallel between Bradbury's fiction and our reality.
Yeah, the danger isn't necessarily external oppression, but this potential for self-inflicted decline. Choosing shallow entertainment over deep engagement, leading to a loss of critical thinking, meaning, and maybe even our own humanity in a way.
And the video's advice felt pretty straightforward.
Read books, especially challenging ones, and cut back on the cheap dopamine, the easy distractions that dull our thinking.
Be more intentional about what we consume and why.
Definitely. Which leads to maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on, building on what the video discussed.
Go for it.
Consider what silence actually means in your life. Is
Yeah.
it just dead air, an emptiness you rush to fill with noise, with content, with anything?
Or is it maybe a space, a necessary space for the kind of reflection, the kind of deeper thought that, as the video suggests, Bradbury and Nietzsche warned we are dangerously close to losing altogether?
Something to think about. Maybe pick up Fahrenheit 451 again, see how it hits you now.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for exploring that with us. That was quite the deep dive.